What's up, everybody? A very happy Thursday and welcome to the Early Edge. I see everybody in the chat. Joseph, Mark Taylor. I'm not reading that screen name because I might screw it up, but I know that's you, Dante, and CID, Eric David. A very good morning. Right back to everybody else. Well, let's see if we had a good day yesterday. We're looking at the recap screen. 4-2. We certainly turned it around. We're always trying to do better. 4-2 is going to play, though. I love the Tim Doyle parlay. Man, did that work out. Look at that number, by the way, and I know a lot of you played it, plus 187. So 4-2 with a nearly plus 200 bet. We'll take that every single time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have got a crew today, and we've got someone appearing via satellite. Wait to find out. I'm bringing in the stars of the show. It's Mike McClure. It's the Sniper, and it's a special guest surprise, although I don't usually call him a guest. Sniper, how you doing?
I'm very good. Other than the fact that the Pacers got swept and the Cubs are terrible right now. Other than that, very, very good.
Your thoughts on it was Imanaga that went yesterday, correct?
Yes. Probably only a matter of time. I mean, It's the 0.84 ERA through 9 starts. We knew he wasn't going to continue to be that good. There were concerns coming over from Japan about his fly ball rate and how some of those fly balls might turn into home runs, and we saw that happen last night. So it was a little bit of a course correction. There's probably some more course correction starts coming there, but I still think on the whole he's going to have a very good season.
All right. And Mike, I got to ask you, because it's Thursday morning. I'm just curious because you never give away your excitement level. You're very just kind of calm, your demeanor. Are you more excited on the Thursday morning about an RBC Canadian Open, the baseball slate, which includes day and night baseball, or the NBA playoffs tonight?
I would say the golf tournament in the morning, at least. When I wake up Thursday, it's definitely concerned with the golf tournament for sure. I love betting first rounds, love sweating DFS, as you guys probably know. Love playing a lot of DFS. So really watching that leaderboard close, knowing who I'm tilting early, who I'm celebrating early. It's definitely golf on Thursdays for me.
Yeah, it's funny because I have golf right next to me. I'm waiting to see, maybe it already happened, Burns' birdie putt. He is tied for the lead through 9. It's very early, but of course he was one of my first round leaders. So hopefully that putt goes well. That first round goes well. We've got a couple first round picks for you, but before we get into PGA or MLB, I want to get to the guest who's not normally a guest. It's Propstarz. He's got a couple of picks and he's going to show up right about now.
Good morning, Sia. Good morning, Early Edge fan. What's up, Sniper? What's up, Mikey? I've got a 2-pack of plays that I absolutely love today. I'm going to fade 2 different starting pitchers, starting with Brady Singer. I'm going to go under 17.5 outs for the Kansas City Royals starter. This is a big number for Brady Singer on the road. He's failed to go 6 innings. He's actually failed to eclipse 5 innings on the road this season. Facing the Twins today, who don't necessarily look like a tough matchup on paper, but they're very familiar with Singer. Almost 120 career at-bats against him with an OPS of just under 900. So I think he's going to have a tough time going 6 innings today against this Twins lineup. And then I'm going to actually fade Carlos Rodon of the Yankees, going under 17.5 outs for him as well. This has a lot to do with the Angels. The Angels are the toughest matchup in baseball right now for opposing lefties, in my opinion, are certainly as tough as any other matchup. They're top 5 in OPS, bottom 10 in K rate. Rodon also appears to be a regression candidate to me. If we look at some of the expected stats, he's performing above his head, both in ERA, I would also argue in the strikeout category as well. And if you guys follow me, you'll see that I'm fading him in a variety of ways. So love both these plays, under 17.5 outs for both Carlos Rodon and Brady Singer.
Absolutely love that. Like, the dedication from Propstarz and this entire Early Edge crew. When they know they can't make it, but they've got picks to give out, they figure it out with Jake the Snake, and we get the picks out for you. I know there's we're going to have a little bit more talk about the Kansas City Royals, and I know some people had some picks on the Kansas City Royals, specifically Brady Singer. So I don't know, maybe you rethink those, but I've got to play in that game as well. I've also got a round 1 3 ball. But before we get to those, the SportsLine pick. We've got a huge game tonight. Mike, right after I give out this pick, I'm going to go to you. We talked to Tim Doyle about this play. He actually gave it out at the minus 190 money line price yesterday, along with that plus 187 parlay that, of course, he already cashed. He said, hey, if you don't want to pay the juice, just throw it into a money line parlay. He really likes the Timberwolves to win. Well, the sports line pick is laying the points. It's laying 4.5 points. Minnesota at home, game 5, obviously a must win for the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is minus 105. I guess it's possible, Mike, this one toggles back down to 4 before tip. But your thoughts on this one?
I definitely lean in the direction of Minnesota winning this one. I think that this is definitely going to go to a 6th game. As far as laying the 4.5, I don't love it necessarily. I do think we're in for a competitive game. I know we've seen Minnesota return home and blow someone out like they did to Denver. Not exactly expecting a blowout performance in this one, just because of the style of play and the way Dallas likes to play. But I do lean towards Minnesota. If I had to play something in the game personally, I lean pretty heavily to the over 209.5 here. I think that we see a little bit more offense. I think we see a lot of free throws in this one, but these are just high variance approaches. I bet Dallas shoots at least 43s in this game tonight.
Wow, that is very, very interesting. Snyder, listen, I know it was the Pacers that you were rooting for. Are you still dialed in any appreciable way to the NBA playoffs?
Probably not really moving forward. I want to ask, have you ever seen a team get swept and after they led in 3 of the 4 games in the final minute? I mean, I just thought that was, obviously I thought the Celtics were going to win the series pretty much the whole time, but when you look back, it's like, man, awfully close to having a 3-1 lead there. But I guess then they probably would have blown the 3-1 lead. But anyway, no. And plus, if I would say I'm not giving any advice because I feel like every single time I've tried to predict what would happen in a game in the West, I would have been wrong. It's been crazy.
You know, what's interesting that what we're finding about the Western Conference in particular, but also I guess the playoffs is closers matter, in my opinion, so much more than they might have 10, 20 years ago, which sounds crazy, right? Obviously, we had players like Jordan and even LeBron in the younger years that and Kobe that could close, but we're seeing teams like the Lakers against the Denver Nuggets. Listen, they were winning a majority of that series, a majority of those games, and then it came down to Jamal Murray and Jokic at the end of games, and that's why that one ended 4-1. I think that's what it ended at. Long story short, though, I mean, there's the reason the Mavericks are up in this series is because of Luka and Kyrie down the stretch. They're not necessarily outplaying Minnesota for 48 minutes. It's really just the last 4 or 5 minutes where they're really stepping up, and Minnesota is wilting in a pretty big way.
That's one area where, if I can go back to when I was in high school or even younger, Michael Jordan's Bulls, it seemed like you could play with them every quarter until the last 2 minutes. And then all of a sudden you looked up and they have a 7-point lead. And it's like every single quarter, they just drop the hammer at the end.
Yeah. And by the way, Mike, thanks for responding to Chris Kish. We're talking tennis, but Chris, good for you. Cause I think you actually put out some tennis picks. So if anybody wants to follow Chris, I know you do a lot of F1 stuff. But obviously happy to talk tennis. Obviously, times of these matches are really important as it relates to, picks on this show or otherwise. So keep that in mind. We're talking French Open. The times are a little different. If you want to make tennis bets, if you want to make baseball bets, if you want to make golf bets, you can do it at BetMGM. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10, and you'll receive up to $1,500 instantly if your bet loses with bonus code EDGE. That's bonus code EDGE, EDGE. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to Sniper's picks. We're going to get to my picks, and we're going to get to Mike McClure's picks right after this message from our partners.
The Champions League final. This is as big as it gets. The kings of the Champions League. Dortmund are into the final.
Ain't gonna stop me now. This is the final round.
All his dreams coming true.
Dortmund versus Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League final on CBS and streaming live on Paramount+.
We are back on the Early Edge presented by BetMGM. I'm seeing it's Day One talking about the Lakers being up in every game in that Western Conference series against the Nuggets. So I hope you didn't think I didn't steal your comment because I didn't see it, but maybe it was up there after. I'm not really sure, but good stuff from the chat as usual. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. All right, Sniper, we got Propstarz picks. It was 2 baseball picks. We need 2 baseball picks from you. You go.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the same game that he picked for his second play. Aaron Judge over 2.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. I know 2.5 is a little higher than we're used to the 1.5, but it's plus money. And Judge has not had a problem getting over 2.5 in this last month. In his last 23 games, he has 31 hits, 24 runs, 21 RBIs. That's about 3.3 per game on this prop. In those 23 games, hitting 392 with a 962 slugging percentage. He's been out of his mind ridiculous, but it's not just him. And that's what is important in this prop, because Anthony Volpe hitting leadoff has a 21-game hitting streak. He's on base every single game. Juan Soto with a 412 on base percentage leads the American League. They're the two guys who hit in front of Judge. So he's going to have a ton of RBI opportunities in this one. I don't think Patrick Sandoval is going to throw very well for the Angels. Even if you want to look down at his splits, he's been worse at home throughout the course of his career than he has been on the road. And this one is in Angel Stadium. So I expect the Yankees to have a lot of traffic today, a lot of that traffic in front of Judge, a lot of RBI opportunities if you want to lock down in the RBI prop. But I love the little buffer there on hits plus runs plus RBIs, just in case anything goes funky there. Plus, if he hits a home run, he's already over the 2.5 there on his own, even if it's a solo shot. Also, Carlos Rodon to get a win at plus 120. I know Propstarz had the under on the ads recorded, but we can both get home on this one. If he just goes 5 innings, I agree that he's a bit of a regression candidate, but he's going so well right now. And I don't like the Angels offense overall. They do have very good numbers against left-handed pitching. So if that scares you off, I totally understand, but they have no player who's seen a lefty for more than 50 plate appearances this year. I don't think it's necessarily one of those things where it's going to translate all year and they're going to be amazing against left-handers all year. If you look at the personnel, something like the Rangers last year when they were amazing against lefties. Well, if you looked at the personnel, it kind of made sense. With the Angels here, it doesn't. So I'm thinking maybe some of it is a small sample fluke. And overall, the Yankees are just a much better team than the Angels. The Angels are 7-20 at home. The most likely scenario here is the Yankees win comfortably with a lead in the first 5 innings or so. If you want to look at a first 5, that's good. But I like the plus odds on Rodon getting through 5 innings with a lead and the Yankees holding it.
All right. Absolutely love the play. Good stuff coming from Sniper. And listen, some of these bets can conflict to some degree. And it's funny.
They can both, like I said, they can both get there.
But they can both get there. And what's interesting is I have the same thing. It's a really good transition because we heard what Proppy said about Brady Singer, and I don't wholly disagree. But I think in this Royals-Twins game, I think at the end of 5, we're going to see the Royals either tied or up, which is why I have the Royals plus a half a run at minus 135. This is one of those situations where I look at Brady Singer and listen, he's had some issues, particularly with the control, but overall, he's been a very good pitcher. Chris Paddock on the other side, he's had flashes of brilliance, like really some really great games, but also some pedestrian games, especially lately. Looking at some of the advanced metrics, I still like Brady Singer over Chris Paddock. I think we're getting the benefit of a good line, partly because of what Mike said yesterday about Kansas City splits and just the mere fact that the Twins are at home and they seem to have turned their season around as of a few weeks ago. But the long and short of it is I'm getting a plus a half a run at minus 135. I like how Kansas City hits against righties, so I'm not really worried about that. Certainly still better than the Minnesota Twins against righties. So I think we have the slightly better pitcher. I think we have the slightly better bats, and I think we're getting the plus a half a run at a very good price. So give me the Royals first 5 plus a half. This one starts soon. I think this is an early afternoon game. I'll double check that. I'm sure everybody in the chat already knows the answer to that question. Next, I'm going to a round 1 3 ball. Now, I almost didn't give this one out. And the reason is at the RBC Canadian Open at Hamilton Country Club, like we didn't necessarily know what this course called for. Does it call for bombers? Does it call for tacticians? Is the rough going to be really thick and just really tough for the bombers? I think we're seeing a little bit of both when we look at the top of the leaderboard right now with a very small sample size. I think we're seeing that both of those sort of methods of attack can certainly succeed, which is no surprise, really. I like this Aaron Ride play, plus 105 over Eric Cole and Ryan Palmer for a couple of different reasons. The problem with Aaron Rye at times is he can go really cold with the putter. But the good news here is he's better in a ball striking department, recent form, all those things. He checks the box over Eric Cole and Ryan Palmer. But what I really like about this one is that Eric Cole and Ryan Palmer are not necessarily better in the putting department. Like these, if one of these two guys was like a really good putter, I probably wouldn't have put this play out. But I just like the fact that none of these guys are great putters. So if Aaron Rye fails with the putter a little bit, he still has the ball striking over both of these guys. I'll tell you right now, I'm only playing this one for a half a unit because typically with 3 balls, I don't want to go a full unit because I have two guys to beat. Usually I zero in with matchups, head-to-head matchups with a full unit. So play that as you will. That's how I'm playing it. Aaron Rye this afternoon, plus 105 over Eric Cole and Ryan Palmer. All right, we got a golf pick. We got a Major League Baseball pick. And Mike McClure, we heard your thoughts on the Minnesota Timberwolves, but now I want to hear your thoughts on Sahith Theegala at the RBC Canadian Open.
Yes, we're going to target Theegala here in round one. We are not doing it with a matchup, though. I'm going to look at an individual round score. You can find the individual round score under 68.5, coming back plus 115. This is a par 70, meaning we need a -2 round or better. Love that this course is a little bit of unknown, and you will kind of see these price points fluctuate a lot when you're betting guys in the mid-morning or afternoon wave based on what's happening on the course out there right now. But so far, we've got 23 players on the course under par. We've seen as high as -4 on a front nine. That tells me that the conditions are good enough for a Theegala round of -2 or better. He's obviously one of the best players in this field right now, but I love his current form overall. He has been phenomenal. I know he fell off a bit at the PGA Championship in the final round, but that was to be expected a little bit in the first time in such a big moment like that for him. Here, I think he continues to have another solid round of golf. He checks all the boxes. He's great on approach. He's awesome with the putter. The question mark has really always been, or at least I say always been, like right now it's been the around the green play, but I expect that to continue to round into form. Sia, you kind of mentioned we don't necessarily know if it's going to suit the Bombers or not. The good news is he does have that in the skill set if he needs it. But I like this price point for Theegala. I'm not saying he's going to lead the round, not saying he's going to beat anyone individually, but I do think a -2 round is going to be about an average performance in this condition. And I love the price point here, plus 115 on it.
Mike, what I really like about this one too is it doesn't appear, and I'm not a weather person, but it doesn't appear that the weather is going to be drastically different from the morning conditions. For one, it's going to be warmer, which is because it started out really cold this morning, but the wind doesn't appear to be up very much from what we're going to see in the morning. It's just not up in general. So the conditions are actually ripe for, that -2 or really even a first round leader type of round from a player of the caliber of Sahith Theegala. So it's something to look for. And by the way, Harry Potter, you wrote in the chat, this was very cryptic. You just said -5. And Harry Potter, I assumed you were talking about Sam Burns. It turns out you were. Thank you. Be more specific next time so I could have celebrated the moment with you instead of 30 seconds later. But thanks for the update. I think that is the Harry Potter, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So that's awesome that he's in the chat. Mike, let me ask you just about the tournament in general. Was Sahith Theegala also an outright for you? I ask you because on the early wedge with Patrick McDonald and Eric Cohen, I told everybody that my debate, and I only had 3 outrights. It was Davis Thompson, Alex Noren, and it turns out Tommy Fleetwood. But my big debate was between Tommy Fleetwood and Sahith Theegala. And I even said on the show, I think I might have made the wrong decision. Is Sahith Theegala one of your outrights this week?
I do not have Theegala outright, but I do have him in a top 20 market. So I played him plus 105 for a top 20 finish.
Gotcha. And who was your favorite outright this week?
Well, I can tell you the ones that I backed. I had Mackenzie Hughes is probably the best in terms of the opening price that I got at 45 to 1. And then I've had a massive long shot on Bryce Garnett, 170 to 1.
Bryce Garnett, certainly a course fit. That guy says, what's the over-under on how many times Sia says, by the way? That's actually a really good question. And by the way, don't be that guy. You see what I just did there? Yeah. Do you see what I just did there? The over-under, by the way, is, I'm just going to keep saying it, 8.5. I say it too much. I'm going to make a note of that. I actually appreciate it. Eric David says Theegala on FanDuel is under 69.5 at -150. I assume you wouldn't pay that juice, Mike.
Yeah, I would not. The only advice on that would be, I know it's not fun to miss a play when a line moves like that. Wait it out and continue to watch it, because some of the line movement is certainly related to us sharing the play. But another portion of the line movement on a round score in golf is going to be related to the conditions on the course. So if they continue to score well over the next hour, he doesn't tee off for another hour and a half, 2 hours. If they continue to score well, it probably will tick back down to 68.5 around the same price point.
All right, and Sniper, I have a question for you. This is kind of a cold call here on the Brewers game. Taylor Dutton asks, with Colin Ray on the mound and he's facing James Tallian, this is Milwaukee at home, do you like the Brewers' first five?
Man, I don't know. I mean, Tyon's had a lot of good outings this year, and he's capable of throwing 5 good innings. The Brewers' offense is inconsistent, but can pound you around the yard at times. But then again, they almost got no hit by Ben Brown, and then Hayden Wesneski came in the 8th and gave up a hit 2 nights ago. And Ray, again, the Cubs' offense has been so bad. But then they blew up in the 10th inning the other night. Last night, they looked plenty capable. They were just playing from way behind. So that's tough. I would stay away, but I would totally understand leaning toward the Brewers here and trying to shorten the game.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I only take Colin Ray on the road here in Little Rock. Again, 3 people got that reference. Totally worth it. All right, let's take a look at the recap screen. Sniper's just shaking his head. I have no idea what you're saying. Sniper has Aaron Judge over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs at plus money, plus 105, and Carlos Rodon to record a win at plus 120. I've got the Royals first 5 this afternoon at plus a half a run. Again, we're adding the half a run in at non-prohibitive juice, in my opinion, minus 135. My round 1 play that I told you I'm only playing for a half a unit, mostly because it's a 3-ball. Aaron Rye plus 105 over Eric Cole and Ryan Palmer. Mike McClure, RBC Canadian Open, round 1 play. This isn't a matchup. It's an under on strokes. To hit the Galler under 68.5 at plus money. That's plus 115, which means he has to be 2 under or better. Propstarz, Brady Singer, under 17.5 outs at minus 120, and Carlos Rodon, under 17.5 outs, again, at minus 120. And our SportsLine pick, this is going to be an exciting game, folks. I can't wait to watch it. I think the Timberwolves are going to win. I think they're going to cover, and so does SportsLine. Give me the Timberwolves minus 4.5 at minus 105. And just an update on that Royals game. Like I said, it is early afternoon. It's at 1:10 Eastern Standard Time. So that's gonna happen. That's gonna start 1 hour after my round 1 3-ball, which I believe starts at around noon. So we've got a lot of action in the day. We got a lot of action tonight. We appreciate all the action in the chat, all the questions, all the comments. And forgive me for not getting to all the questions. It's hard to get to everything, but we try to get to every possible thing we can. Appreciate all the hitting the like button and all that. Always helps. Tomorrow when you get in here for Big Pick Energy Friday, please hit it right when you come into the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, what a great show. Thank you, Propstarz, for jumping in. Thank you, Jake the Snake, on the 1s and 2s. Thank you, Sniper. Thank you, Mike McClure. This is The Early Edge. Let's have a great and profitable Thursday. I am the Counselor of Cash. We rest our case.